Landing on Venus would be a crushing experience, literally. Its atmosphere is incredibly dense, leading to extreme pressure. The pressure is 92 times higher than on Earth. Your suit would implode within seconds. Venus is deadly, and the pressure is just one way it can kill you. The dense atmosphere also traps heat, creating a runaway greenhouse effect. Venus is hot enough to instantly boil you. The surface temperature reaches 465 degrees Celsius. Within minutes, you'd experience heat exhaustion. Soon after, brain damage and cardiac arrest would follow. The air is 96% carbon dioxide and 3% nitrogen. One breath would suffocate you. Sulfuric rain would corrode your suit and burn your skin. Overall, Venus gets a 1 out of 10 for survival, not recommended. This is Mercury, the closest planet to the Sun. But it has a secret: it's extremely freezing on the night side. Unlike Venus, Mercury doesn't have an atmosphere to trap the Sun's heat. Without it, the heat escapes into space during the long Mercurian nights. Even though Mercury is close to the Sun, it cools down rapidly when night hits. You could walk around and explore the planet, but after 10 minutes in this extreme cold, you'd barely be able to move. Your muscles would feel stiff and you'd feel confused and cold. It would take about 60 minutes for Mercury's dark side to kill you, slow, cold, and painful. At least you'd get to see some views before you collapse from the extreme cold. I'd give Mercury's night side a 3 out of 10. But Mercury has a day side too, and it's burning hot. The temperature here hits 427 degrees. C, just slightly cooler than the temperature on Venus, and it's not the intense heat that would kill you, it's extreme radiation too. You'd feel all of it the moment you stepped out of your spaceship. Your body would start overheating if you didn't have the protection of your spacesuit. Your skin would immediately get radiation burns. My hands are burning, it wouldn't be pretty. All that radiation would quickly damage your DNA. It takes 1/1000th of a second to kick off that process. Within the next hour, your cells would mutate and die, so make sure to wear a spacesuit no matter how hot it feels. Danger core body temperature increased to 39 degrees C. After 5 minutes of these burning conditions, you'd begin to feel the effects of hyperthermia. If your suit's cooling system were to fail, you'd experience an amount of heat you've never felt in your life.
God, it burns my hands. It's like they're on fire. It's exactly like they're on fire.
This sudden overheating would make you nauseous. After 10 minutes, you'd be like a piece of toast. Your body temperature would hit 42 degrees C, and if you've ever had a fever like that, you'd know at this point you'd be in delirium.
I swear there were 103 dations everywhere exactly like that. Rico, are you Doatian?
Your muscles would become weak, and your organs would start to shut down. Now you'd be unconscious in the middle of having heat stroke and being blasted by radiation. At this point, you wouldn't have long hot side of Mercury rates, a 2 out of 10 from me. Let's look at Mars, the red planet. Where else in the solar system would you want to establish a human base? Well, not so fast. Mars sits just outside the Sun's habitable zone. It doesn't have water or a magnetosphere. Its atmosphere is incredibly thin. On Mars, the air is mostly carbon dioxide. You'd have to keep your spacesuit on at all times, or you'd die. Spacesuit breach detected. It only takes a minor suit malfunction for Mars to kill you.
What's confusing about this? I'm dying!
The atmospheric pressure on Mars is only 0.6% of what you have on Earth. As soon as your spacesuit gave in, all the pressure inside it, the pressure keeping you alive, would escape. Warning: danger of embolism. As your suit's pressure suddenly dropped, your body would experience painful blood-boiling conditions. Your skin would swell and puff up. After about 7 minutes, you'd be dead. Mars would give you hope and then gruesomely kill you the first chance it got. Another way Mars will kill you is with dust storms. Dust storms on Mars are wild. They can cover the entire planet, and they last for weeks or even months.
Kissy crap in here.
The dust particles are so fine that they get into your spacesuit easily and scratch it from the inside. These flying particles would clog your air filters and do all kinds of damage to your equipment, from cutting off your life support systems to knocking out your heat regulation.
I give Mars a 0.
Pluto is not a planet, it's a dwarf planet. Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system. As a gas giant, it's twice as massive as all other planets combined, with astronomical pressure. It doesn't have a solid surface. You'd fall all the way through its atmosphere. Jupiter is home to violent lightning storms. 50 kilometers below Jupiter's clouds, you'd feel serious turbulence, with winds reaching up to 360 kmph. Lightning bolts would strike too close. The atmosphere around you would be highly charged. One of these bolts would strike the capsule head-on, releasing enough energy to power a city. The electrical and oxygen systems would fail. You'd be trapped inside a powerless, leaking capsule surrounded by a deadly storm. I give Jupiter a 5 out of 10. This gas giant may not be as large as Jupiter, but it's definitely the most majestic. Saturn is the second largest planet in the solar system, and just like Jupiter, it's a gas giant made up of hydrogen and helium with no solid surface. Deep down in its clouds, the unimaginable pressure of this world turns hydrogen into liquid metal, and intense storms have winds raging at 1,800 kilometers per hour. It's windy, it's hot, it's dangerous, and you might die before you even enter Saturn's atmosphere. What makes Saturn the most marvelous planet in this planetary hood is also what makes it dangerous on approach.
Saturn's rings, yeah, okay, yeah, I see them all right.
These rings are made up of billions of small chunks of ice and rock, ranging from grains of dust to icy chunks the size of a house. Saturn has had its rings for a few 100 million years, and it'll have them for the next few 100 million years until these icy rocks rain down on the gas giant. The thing is, these rings move extremely fast, like 70,000 kilometers per hour. Fast. If you're not careful, your ship might just crash into them. Saturn gets an 8 out of 10. Uranus is a beautiful, stormy fart-smelling deadly ice giant. It has the coldest atmosphere of all the planets in the solar system, and it can kill you in many ways. One way to go on Uranus would be to suffocate in its gases. Oh, not to fart gases. Yeah, close enough. 2% of the Uranian atmosphere is methane, a gas that's toxic to humans. Now 2% might not sound like a whole lot, but it's concentrated enough to kill you within minutes. Maybe Uranian high-speed particles moving at 900 kmph eroded your suit, or extreme temperatures of 224 degrees C made it brittle and caused it to crack, or hydrogen and methane had a chemical reaction with your suit materials, corroding them. On Uranus, anything could cause a breach, and even the smallest breach would lead to toxic methane exposure. But Uranus has other surprising ways to off you, like turning you into a humanized diamond. You'd have to survive the trip deeper into Uranus to be turned into a diamond, all the way to some 10,000 kilometers below its CL tops. That's where the pressure is so intense and the temperature is so high that carbon atoms crystallize into diamonds. About 18% of the human body is carbon, so you'd be about to undergo the most precious change of your lifetime. I'd give Uranus a 10 out of 10, epic, sparkling, with a bit of fun. Great planet to perish on. Now this is the last ice giant in the solar system and the most distant planet from the sun. Neptune, Neptune. It looks a lot like Uranus. It's true, Neptune has a similar mass and size as Uranus, and it's even made up of some of the same materials like hydrogen, helium, iced ammonia, methane, and water. Only Neptune has one thing Uranus does not. Extreme winds detected. Geez, Neptune has the fastest winds in the entire solar system. These gusts reach speeds of 2,100 kilometers an hour. They're not just winds, they're supersonic winds. Hey, and nobody told me that we were filming the Top Cut sequel in here. Okay, it gets worse too. Not only are these winds extremely fast, but they're also turbulent. They create swirling vortices that would throw your spaceship in different directions. Intense atmospheric pressure winds and methane ice would start ripping the ship apart. But that's not all. If you got caught in the Neptunian supersonic vortex, the winds would violently spin the ship, and this centrifugal force would desert some serious G-forces, as Neptune's winds accelerated your ship to about 10 Gs. Everything inside your body would feel heavy. That would be your organs getting compressed inside your body. Your blood would pool around your legs and cause oxygen deprivation to your brain. You lose consciousness. Pretty quickly, it would only take about 5 minutes for the ship and your body to lose their structural integrity completely and disintegrate into the Neptunian atmosphere. Well, that was pretty violent. I give Neptune a 2 out of 10. Well, I know you guys like Pluto, so since you asked, so nicely thought I'd give you a little treat and show you what it's like here. Pluto isn't exactly a planet, it's a dwarf planet. On the outskirts of the solar system, it's smaller than Earth's moon, but even this tiny rock has ways to kill you. It's a little cold in here. You feel that temperature reading, 239 degrees C. Pluto is even further away from the sun than Neptune, so it barely gets any of the sun's energy. One small malfunction in your spacesuit insulation and you'd freeze to death. You'd feel the frostbite setting in after just 30 seconds. Another 30 seconds later, your bodily fluids would start turning into icicles, and you'd get extreme hypothermia as an unpleasant bonus that you didn't ask for. After 2 minutes, your body temperature would drop below 30 degrees C, which is the exact moment when you'd lose consciousness. After 3 minutes, your body would freeze, and your organs would fail. You'd become one with Pluto's frozen landscape, quick and almost painless. That's a 7 out of 10 for Pluto. It, did hurt. Well, that's it for this solar system's planets. Where should we send Chase to explore next? Maybe we'll ship them all the way to an exoplanet outside of our planetary corner. But that's a story for another. What if support us on Patreon and help us send Chase to his next adventure? Thanks, Space Explorers. That was pretty violent. I give. What planet are we on? Chase is dead, okay.